What's up, you guys? Godzilla fan freaks coming at you today with another figure review. And today we are taking a look at the Playmates Drownviper from the Monsterverse line. So this figure has been, at first it was scarce. You know, please, everybody in the kaiju collecting community, please never give in to scalpers. It's just, you know, it doesn't help the situation. You know, always patience is a virtue. Eventually, this guy started hitting store shelves to where you found multiples in a store, which is great. This is one of those few Playmates figures that I was looking forward to picking up. I really did enjoy, for what little screen time it had in the movie, the Drownviper. I think it's a really cool kaiju design. You know, I thought it looked really fantastic, and I really wish we got to see a little bit more of it. This is the only figure that I know of in existence right now of it, and let's hope that maybe Haya picks up the Drownviper and wants to do one themselves, because that would be an excellent figure from Haya Toys, because Haya has been doing an excellent, amazing job with their Godzilla line. And just like I've seen pictures of the Skullcrawler, I still want to get a Haya Skullcrawler. I'm thinking probably going to be ordering one the next 1 or 2 paychecks, probably from, because I know Big Bad Toy Store has those guys in stock. And I wouldn't mind getting a nice Skullcrawler. And I don't have any Haya figures yet. I just haven't had the chance or opportunity to really pick anything up. But maybe the Skullcrawler will be a good first Haya figure, and then of course I'm looking forward to like the Godzilla Evolved from them and whatnot. But I really think a Drownviper would be really cool to see from Haya Toys. So without further ado, just taking a quick look overview of the box. You know, you're pretty much standard Monsterverse Playmates box, nothing crazy going on. You know, we all know this good stuff. Got the back with a little bit of write-up on the figure, picture of the figure, other figures that are in the line, and so on and so forth. So that does it for the box. Now on to the figure itself. Now, one of the first things you might notice is my Drownviper is a little bigger, longer than others, maybe one that you picked up. And that was because I gotta give a shout out to this guy as well, Adam over at Thirsty Thursday Toys. He gave me the idea from his channel of just buying a second Drownviper, and then you can take pieces from the other Drownviper and add them to whichever one you want to be the main one, and to make basically a longer extension. And that's a really, really cool idea. Theoretically, you could buy 3, 4, however many you can get Drownvipers, and just continuing to piece together the segments and make one crazy long Playmates Drownviper. But I just ended up buying 2. They did have a third one at my local Walmart, but I didn't want to be that greedy collector. I was like, you know what? I want to just get 2. That way, at least I can, you know, make my Drownviper with a little more heft than just what it comes with. And again, at $10 a piece, it's pretty much easy to pick up, you know, 2, 3 of these guys without a problem. Like, that's really not bad. And so again, shout out to Adam over at Thirsty Thursdays Toys for the idea of, you know, creating a longer Drownviper, because I just think it looks really good when you add those extra segments. I mean, it's already an amazing figure from Playmates, but this just makes it all that much more better. So to all other collectors out there, if you have not yet found this guy or picked him up, please just continue checking your stores. He should be readily available at this point, but I definitely recommend just pick up 2. You won't regret it. So now, into this figure review, we're going to look at paint. Paint on this figure. So you have very nice blues, yellows, bone ivory whites, a little bit of blacks. Very nice color all the way around. And I will say, from the 2 Drownvipers that I ended up buying, I didn't have any quality control issues, like no misconsistencies with the paint or the sculpt or anything, like no bit of slop or ugliness. It's pretty freaking solid. So I am, again, very impressed with this, especially coming from Playmates, you know. Playmates isn't necessarily a high-end, you know, they're kids' toys, you know, they're kid collectibles, you know, whatever you want to call them. But, you know, if I was a kid, this would be an amazing toy, for sure. Just overall, I love the blues. The blues is very eye-catching. Again, the Drownviper in the movie, I thought was a really, really cool, fantastic monster, you know. So you got very nice dark blues, yellow stripes, pink inside the mouth for the tongue and the gums, bone ivory, you know, white for the teeth, yellow and black for the eyes, you know, a very lighter grayish blue underneath. There is actually a little bit of yellow slop underneath this section here, but again, it doesn't really show because however I'm going to have this guy posed, that segment is always basically going to be flat on the ground. So again, there's no bit of slop where you can see it. I mean, it's really, really good. I mean, even under these parts here, no bit of paint slop at all. Very, very clean. So again, just very outstanding paint job. Good job, Playmates. Sculpt-wise, I have no complaints about the sculpt. The only thing I will say, just to get it out of the way, and, you know, I'm sure everyone else has pointed this out, the teeth, they just look like Tic Tacs. They just look like Tic Tacs. I know it's a kid's figure, you know, nothing crazy, but I really wish the teeth had a little bit more of a sharper look. And I'm not I don't consider myself a custom you know, I don't do any custom editing to my figures, you know, not in a big way to where I'm taking away sculpt, you know what I mean? But if I was a craftsman, one thing that I would do to perfect this figure even further is I would take an X-Acto, you know, blade or knife or something and see if I could shave these teeth down to be a little more pointed. You know, that's about the only thing I would do, but I do not trust myself in doing that because I've never done something like that. I would have to leave that up to somebody who knows what they're doing. But that is the only thing that I would do, is I would shave the teeth down to be a little bit more sharp. That's about it. Other than that, fantastic sculpt. I mean, you got all the lines and details of the underbelly, you know, the eyes. You have these little indentations, which could be like gills or something on each side. The fins, the dorsal, you know, line, amazing, amazing looking, especially on these first few segments. I like how there's multiple rows, but then it does thin out to just a singular row and just keeps going all the way down, and the spikes keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And then even the tail here at the very end, the very tip, again, all of this detail in here, very, very nicely well done. And again, throughout the skin, you can see the scales, the lining, the etchness. It just looks really, really good. Again, Playmates, fantastic. This is an amazing figure. As far as articulation goes, again, think SH Monster Arts Godzilla tail. That's basically kind of what this guy is. You know, he's just basically ball joint at the head. He's got a hinge for the mouth, of course, but you have ball joint segment, ball joint segment, ball joint segment. I mean, you guys get it. Rotate, twist, bend a little bit, however you see fit. That is what this guy is for articulation. As far as scaling and size comparison goes, let me see here. I mean, Playmates figures, again, they're kids' toys. They're not really meant to scale with one another. So you're going to have things that are, you know, out of scale. But he will look good with your other Playmates figures. You know, you want to have a Drownviper versus the Skullcrawler. Go at it. You know, you can even remove the battle damage on top of the Skullcrawler and have like the Drownviper biting him or something like that. I don't know. But, you know, so he's going to scale in well with anything else from Playmates. But, like, if you go movie-wise and everything like that, like the Drownviper was pretty decent size. So it is, you know, it's going to be out of scale, you know, so. But there it is with the Playmates Skullcrawler. No other Playmates figures here, but here he is with a Bandai Godzilla. So you get what he would look like next to your average 6-inch Bandai. Pretty good. Again, looks good, looks solid. I mean, still not crazy out of scale, but if you really want to go off of the movie and whatnot, he's really not going to scale in with anything. And then as far as Kong goes, for those that do follow Godzilla Fan Freaks on Facebook and Instagram, I thank you. And if you do not, you're missing out on some cool pictures and stuff that you do see from my collection when I maybe rearrange some stuff. Because for those that maybe did see the post, I did rearrange my Kong dedicated shelf. You know, I had to move some things around, and I kind of have this guy to where he's like weaving between and in and out, you know, of other figures. And then here he is scaled with the NECA Kong. And I have the NECA Kong in kind of like a battle type pose. And I have the Drownviper, you know, again, twisted, curved around the other figures on the shelf. But then these two are basically face to face, locked in a fierce battle. I thought that looked really cool for my Kong shelf. And so yeah, so that's what I ended up doing. So again, you know, if you have the ability, you know, not saying you have to download apps if you don't want to, but I am over on Instagram and Facebook as Godzilla Fan Freaks, and you will catch pictures and, you know, things that you won't see here on the channel, obviously. But yeah, so I'm just going to end the video here. You know, that's a cool pose, cool way to end it, cool shot. And, you know, just really, really awesome stuff. One last shout out, though, will go out to Nick Adams of the Monster Report, my good Kaiju Brojira over there. He's been, in his downtime, he's still been helping me out a lot, you know, helping me create thumbnails and everything like that. So like the thumbnail for this video and everything, all credit goes to Nick over there at the Monster Report. If you guys haven't yet, go like, subscribe over to the Monster Report, and even his son Eli's channel, the Mini Monster Report. Go check them out, support them. Great channel, great guy. So Nick, thank you again for the assistance with the thumbnails, and I hope I'm not asking ever too much of you. So thank you again. And that about wraps it up for this figure review, everybody. So, like always, we are Godzilla Fan Freaks. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Don't forget to like and follow Godzilla Fan Freaks over on Facebook, Instagram. Atomic Blast that like button, notification bell, all those good things. And like always, we are Godzilla Fan Freaks, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.
Look, my corn's hurt.